What got you involved in this case first? You were in Kenosha on the night in question, and what did you do?
So I was in Kenosha because I was actually familiar with the area because I'm from Illinois originally, and I saw that Sunday evening where the video of the police shooting of Jacob Blake, and because I was familiar with Kenosha and how of a relatively small town compared to some of the other cities that covered riots in, I knew that just the law enforcement was not going to be enough to prevent any rioting. And unfortunately, I was correct. Riots broke out that Sunday night. Then I came in on Monday, covered the riots for that evening, and then covered the aftermath the next day on that Tuesday. And, again, it was kind of, we were expecting some more riots to happen, and they did. I just want to be clear because the media has described the Rittenhouse shooting as taking place during a protest, which is absolutely not true. They were rioting. And it's because they were rioting at the courthouse in the very building that I'm in right now. The law enforcement pushed them out of the park that's across the street, down the street, because they still were attacking law enforcement and damaging property. But then they were pushed into the group of armed civilians who had come to protect further businesses from being damaged. And then that's kind of cascaded into the events that did lead to the shootings from that night.
Mm-hmm. And so your videotapes have become yet another star witness, if you will, in this case, because you captured much of what happened on tape. And you tell me, because I said this to a lawyer last week, I don't believe that Kyle Rittenhouse would have a chance of being acquitted, as I think he should be in this case, had it not been for the videotapes.
No, absolutely. And it just highlights the kind of the importance of the work that myself and people at the Daily Caller, the Blaze, and some other independent guys were doing, because from the get-go, the media, the mainstream media, were trying to downplay the riots, these very destructive riots that were happening. I was in Minneapolis at the very start in May, and then it just kind of continued on, and we were going from city to city because that's what our job is, to kind of report in these very hectic situations. And there was no mainstream media outlet out at the scene of the shooting. They were kind of around. CNN, I found out, was actually up here by the courthouse, so that's why they weren't here, because they were doing their live shots outside the building. But no, and look, we obviously didn't set out that night to try to prove someone's innocence. We were just there to record what happened. It just so happened that because of what we recorded and what we saw, it actually just completely goes against the large part of the media narrative that this was some white supremacist mass murderer wannabe. It just didn't make any sense at all with what has been perpetuated in the year, and even what's been perpetuated as the trial's been going on. And I'm sure we'll get into that, but yeah, no, we are just out there because we want to show the American people what is happening in these hectic situations in real time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they paint Kyle Rittenhouse as though he were on a killing spree that night, a white supremacist on a killing spree at a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest, not riot. And none of that has been proven. Not one piece of that. Nothing about Kyle Rittenhouse being a racist or a white supremacist. His sin appears to have been, or the original sin, being a white guy with a gun who showed up at a Black Lives Matter riot to try to protect and keep the peace. But then he found himself in three very dangerous situations, and he did defend himself. And the question for this jury is whether he was really the provocateur, the initial aggressor, or whether it was true self-defense. And both of those things have to be proven by the prosecution. Once a defendant asserts his defense of self-defense, it's up to the prosecutor to disprove it. This prosecutor has the affirmative burden of proving not self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. And boy, is that going to be an uphill battle. And we'll get into that in 1 second. Just want to give the audience watching this, because we release this on YouTube as well as live on SiriusXM at noon East on Triumph 111, and as a podcast of the video, some of the video that you captured that night. This is soundbite 1. Let's take a look. why don't you tell us, Julio, what was captured there? What are we looking at?
So that was the second half of the shooting. This is where Rittenhouse shot Anthony Huber and Gage Grosskreutz. And so I was up the street when the first shooting happened, when Joseph Rosenbaum chased after Rittenhouse into the car lot. Rittenhouse's avenues of escape was cut off from the cars in the lot. And then Joshua Zuminski, this random this guy, fired a gun in the air. And then so it's a combination of those three things. It appears that what changed from Kyle going in from flight mode into fight mode, because as has been proven throughout the trial, Rosenbaum reached for the weapon, and that's when Kyle shot him.